Hello.
Hello!
Oh my god, you're a warrior. Now, I don't know about you, but yours truly is petrified. I mean, I remember the first time I saw a mouse. Let me tell you, I wasn't brave. Oh, look, it's the white one.
As I began my journey from Jaisalmer back to New Delhi in order to return to Europe, I felt somehow incomplete, like my whole visit to India had been missing its final piece. And only then did I have my very own eureka moment. I had to return to Europe with a basic knowledge on the world's most ancient religion, Hinduism. So I added a couple of pit stops in the cities of Jodhpur and Bikaner. Jodhpur in order to have the time to take some notes on the ABCs of Hinduism, and Bikaner in order to visit the world's most controversial Hindu temple to the Westerners' eyes.
Good morning, everybody, from the blue city of Rajasthan. This is Jodhpur. Are you joking? We are in the world of Escher. What do we make of this stepwell, man? Let me tell you, the drop-off is quite significant. Look at this. Definitely not for people like me who are kind of terrified of edges. Is this guy gonna jump? People do jump in this water. And from my understanding, the local... Sorry about that. The local king had it cleaned. But the beauty of the thing, man, I mean... As I said, welcome to Jodhpur. For a city in the middle of the desert, because this is still the desert, there's a lot of water, and apparently they sustain themselves with all these reservoirs. It's a common thing to use this trickery to avoid the pigeons. This bloody fort, man, is visible from everywhere. Let's delve into today's topic, Hinduism. Where do we begin? Bloody hell, it's scary. I have notes. Sanatana Dharma, the internal tradition, as the locals call it. A religion that's been followed by close to 1 billion people. Truth be told, most of them are here in India. A 4,000-year-old religion. I think it's the oldest religion on the planet. What do we have here? Look at this. Flipping hell, these people who are making stepwells for fun. This one is closed, however, and it's also a lot more dirty than the other one. Anyway, moving on. About 1,500 before Christ, we have in our hands the Indus Valley civilization, the Harappas. And it is believed that Hinduism was the result of the mixture between that civilization and the Vedic Aryans, which basically descended upon them. And if the word Vedic sounds familiar, it's for a good reason, because the holy scripts of Hinduism, the Vedas, were composed during that period. So what is it then that Hindus believe? Let's delve a little bit into that matter. First of all, there is one universal soul that unites not only humans, everything, every form of life. Second of all, our own individual souls are immortal. For example, when Prince Arjuna is questioning himself in the Bhagavad Gita about sending his soldiers to be massacred in the war, Krishna very calmly explains to him that it doesn't matter. Their souls are immortal. Third, karma. And karma is action. Every little thing that you do in this life has an effect on what happens to you and your soul later on. Not only in this life, but also in the next one, in the reincarnation. The fourth belief would be moksha. And moksha is the stop of the circle of reincarnation. Do you remember when we were in Varanasi and we discussed about why the Hindus immerse themselves in the Ganga? One of the reasons is in order to try and stop this circle of reincarnation. That is moksha. In my opinion, the most important value of Hinduism. Number 5 of Hindu beliefs are, of course, the holy scripts, the Vedas. And there's 4 of them. It's the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Atharva Veda, and the Sama Veda. Hello! Now the first couple covers some pretty vague concepts like reality, truth and rituals. And even some more concrete ones like sacrifice and the concept of war. These dogs, man, are extremely pissed. It's more than obvious that he doesn't want me in his area. So we are wise, we live, because he has teeth. And check him out, he goes on. Anyway, the third one, the Samaveda. The song that destroys sorrow. That's all I could find about this particular set of scriptures. Now the fourth one is my personal favorite because it's packed with charms and curses. This is the Atharva Veda for you. Well, as you can see, Jodhpur is indeed blue. And do you know what this color is all about? First of all, it's the color of the Brahmins. Let's say, for example, that there is some sort of war between Maharajas, right? Flipping hell, we were talking about war and there is immediately war of different dog clans. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Let's say, for example, that there is a war between different clans, different Maharajas. The warriors who will enter this area and they will see the blue color on the wall, they know that it's Brahmins who live in these buildings, so they will not touch them because Brahmins are very important. Check out Vishnu, man. Another reason, besides saving the lives of the Brahmins, is the fact that it's cooler in the summer. And the locals say that a lot less insects come inside these buildings. The blue ones, that is. The other ones are doomed. I have to admit, man, that it's absolutely gorgeous. Number 6 of the beliefs of Hinduism, time is cyclical. The concept is that every time this cycle ends, the world is destroyed. And we are, according to this belief, very close to the end. Just for your information. Now, don't start panicking. It doesn't mean that the world will end tomorrow. Is this the cosmic truth? Not again, man, not again, come on. Don't start again. The holy triad of Hinduism. Not. Don't be upset about the jokes, we have to have humor, right? Now the last belief is of course Dharma. Dharma is your behavior, man. And I'm not talking about being polite to strangers. I'm talking about doing what you are actually meant to do. For example again, Prince Arjuna, it's his Dharma to fight. He's a warrior, no matter what the result. And that is exactly what Krishna pinpoints at him in the Bhagavad Gita. And returning to the caste system, a Brahmin has a totally different dharma than an untouchable. It's just how it is, according to some scriptures. Why can't all doggos be like you two? Loving life and enjoying the sun. Why are the others so aggressive? Oh, flipping hell, there is no escape. It was the same dog. I made a circle without realizing it. Check it out, this is the only annoying thing about India, man. All these kids who try to hustle you.
You want that?
Look at this. Now the Vedas, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, all these scriptures were composed, let's say, by the same person. And they were later, actually hundreds of years later, put in written language, which basically means that they are the closest thing to legend. Not real history, not mythology, legend. Most of you have probably heard the word Upanishads. Upanishads are holy scriptures of the Hinduism. What they basically do is try to place some order in the Vedas. A little bit more structure, a little bit more to the point, let's say. That's the Upanishads. And then we have the lesser texts. You have the 18 Puranas, you have the Ramayana, you have the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the story of Prince Arjuna and his internal conflict. is part of the Mahabharata. But I truly don't know what's less about them, because it's something like 10 times bigger than the Odyssey and the Iliad combined, so go figure. If you were wondering where exactly is the caste system described and all that stuff, it's in one of the 18 Puranas. But more on that later. As a matter of fact, the Puranas are more or less some sort of codex to organizing life. Now, in regards to the Bhagavad Gita and the whole discussion between Krishna and Prince Arjuna, or the Ramayana, whoa, bloody hell, you cannot vlog in India, it's a noise. I swear to Lord Krishna, I will leave all these noises in the vlog. And the Mahabharata, which is basically the story of a war between cousins. We will talk about all that a little bit later on, because I want to speak a little bit more about the generalities of Hinduism. Let's say you're a Hindu. What is your target in life? First one is Dharma. Dharma, the behavior, remember? Chances are high, if you follow your Dharma, that you will be excluded from the circle of reincarnation. Second goal would be Artha, prosperity, something like that. Third one is Kama, and that's the pleasure. Spirit, body. The body should also have some pleasure, right? And the final one is, of course, Moksha. We talked about that earlier. The circle of reincarnation that needs to be stopped. So we have our 4 goals in life, but what's to avoid? Well, I guess all of you know about the 7 deadly sins in Christianity. It's more or less the same in Hinduism. So there you are, you have done your best to follow the 4 goals, to avoid the 6 deadly sins. What about gods? Who do we worship? You're probably asking. The answer to that is very difficult, man. I mean, there are thousands different gods. Right, so we have Brahma. Brahma is the creator. We have Vishnu, who is the preserver of life, and Shiva, who is the destroyer of life. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva represent the Holy Trinity of Hinduism. And do you not know what an avatar is? No, not that one. Although that one is probably inspired, not probably, definitely inspired by the avatars of Hinduism. Avatars being reincarnations of various gods. For example, Lord Krishna, who is discussing the purpose of his actions with Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna is a reincarnation, an avatar of God Vishnu. Rama, Prince Rama, is also an avatar of Vishnu. So you realize where I'm going with this. Everybody has avatars. Thus, the thousands upon thousands of gods. Now, during all the videos in India, you have probably heard me talking about Lord Ganesha, the elephant. And how can you not love such a persona? He is the son of Shiva, and he is the remover of obstacles. We definitely need a god like that. Check out Lord Ganesha dancing. He's got the moves. I do want to add something here, by the way. Yes, the Holy Triad in Hinduism is Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. But in the early days of the Vedas, this Holy Triad is not the same. The names of those gods were Indra, Varuna, and Agni, if I'm not mistaken. So you realize that there is some sort of evolution. I mean, things are changing with time. And of course there are sects. I'm not going to get in that because it's huge. I mean, there is a certain sect that focuses more on Vishnu. Probably the most popular sect is that one. Another one that focuses more on Shiva, etc. But let's not get into that. So why do avatars exist in the first place, you may ask? The answer is kind of simple to this one. Gods come to Earth as avatars in order to restore the Dharma. For example, back to the Bhagavad Gita with Krishna, who is the avatar of Vishnu. There is also the equivalent of Noah's Ark in Hinduism, where Vishnu also descends as the avatar Varaha to save the day. So you get the concept. Alright then, so let's be touching a little bit the caste system issues. There are 4 castes in the Hinduistic societal organization, let's say. You have the Brahmins, who are the priests. You have the Kshatriyas, who are the warriors. The Vaishyas, who are the traders. And finally you have the Skudras, who are the laborers, the proletaries, let's say. In this listing, there's not a single word about the untouchables. They are outcasts. Pun very much intended. What's interesting here is that the early scriptures don't say a single thing about someone who is born in the Vaishyas, for example, and wants to become a warrior or even a priest. He may choose to do that. The restrictions came later with an infamous scripture called Manu Smrti, the laws of Manu. And the law of Manu says that Brahmins are on top of the pyramid and everybody else follows. And there is absolutely no movement between the castes. If you're born a Dalit, you are doomed to stay a Dalit. Well, here we are, climbing the hill towards the fort. Bloody hell, I should have done this in the morning, not at high noon. That's quite the harem, isn't it? Is this the best place to have your coffee or what? Let's get back to the Mahabharata. Now, the events of the Mahabharata took place somewhere in the 1200s before Christ, that is, in the kingdom of Kuru. Now, the kingdom of Kuru was one of the many independent kingdoms that were all over India back then. And it basically describes a war between cousins, the Kurukshetra war. Anyway, the king of Kuru at that time was King Shantanu. King Shantanu was of the lunar dynasty. Lunar, from the moon. There was also a solar dynasty, believe it or not. Yeah, from the sun. Prime examples of people descending from the solar dynasty were Buddha or even Prince Rama.
King Shantanu's first wife was goddess Ganga.
Remember the river in Varanasi? Flipping hell, this video should be done in Varanasi instead of me being scammed there. King Shantanu, some years later, meets and marries another woman, Satyavati, which Satyavati has a son from her previous marriage. His name was Vyasa, the author of all these holy scriptures. And let me tell you, man, this Vyasa guy was a very interesting character. Not only did he compose all these ancient holy scripts, he was used by his mother to have babies with the widows of her other sons, the sons that she had with King Shantanu. You see, Vyasa's half-brothers could not have children, so after they died, their widows had, of course, no kids to challenge for the throne, you know? And it will be the descendants of Vyasa with the two widows of his stepbrothers that would eventually take part in the war described in the Mahabharata. Those were the Kauravas and the Pandavas. The Pandavas were basically the family where Prince Arjuna belonged to. Well, that was the fort for you. The actual king of the region does not live here anymore. I mean, this is more or less a museum now. He lives in an absolute gem of a hotel. I think it's a 7-star hotel. It's the one you see here in the distance. Now, this wouldn't be a proper video on Hinduism if we didn't share a few thoughts on the other epic, Ramayana. Ramayana is about 4 times the size of Iliad and Odyssey. Mahabharata was 10. Its author, it was a guy called Valmiki, if I'm not mistaken, and totally butchering his name. Valmiki was the first major Sanskrit poet. Going through a phase of extreme poverty, Valmiki ended up actually being a bandit and robbing people in order to provide for his family. Now, during that period, he eventually abandoned banditry and became a poet. Now, Ramayana is a poem about the life and achievements of Prince Rama, yet another avatar of Vishnu. We got National Geographic, my friends, here. Flipping hell, they are not scared. The wildlife of Jodhpur. Feeding. Now, the story goes like this. Prince Rama falls in love with a girl from a neighboring village. Goes to the neighboring village. Hi. Face. Hello. Photo, yes. Hi. Faces all the challenges. Her father proposes and takes the girl back home to be his wife. You're cooking?
Halim.
Halim. Is good? Enjoy. Anyway, Prince Rama returns home with Sita, his wife-to-be. Now, his father is so proud of the event, his father the king that is, that immediately suggests Rama to be his heir. The problems start to arise when one of the wives of said king exercises her right to ask for a favor, if I remember correctly. At some point, the king granted her some wishes, like the genie. And what she asked for, basically for Rama to be kicked out of town. And one of her sons, you see, Rama was the son of another wife, be the future king instead. He's young for the bike. Wow, look at this. Flipping hell, there are some serious street artists here. So Rama, a devastated Rama, leaves his kingdom with his wife Sita and his other brother, the one who was loyal to him. They end up in the forest, they engage into fight and warfare with demons. Demons eventually abduct Sita, his wife, and Rama resolves into asking the help of Hanuman, king of the ape clan. Now, Rama helps Hanuman win his local battles there in the kingdom of the apes, and to return the favor, Hanuman helps him recover Sita from the demons, Rama killing the king of the demons in the process.
Hello!
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 Oh my god, you're a warrior! Hi. What's interesting here is that Sita had to prove her chastity after all of these events. Rama with Sita and his brother, they did return to their kingdom eventually, and Rama got his place in the throne. However, one of his ministers started accusing and spreading rumors on his wife. The rumors went so hard that Sita had to abandon the kingdom and asked for the help of the earth goddess to yet again help her prove her innocence. Upon dying, Rama returns to his godly form as Vishnu and Sita to her goddess form of Lakshmi. Well, good morning from Bikaner. There are a lot of goats here. Hello. The place is packed with goats, man. And doggos. No. And doggos who are extremely aggressive. And there is a reason for this, because they were aggressive also in Jodhpur. They have their puppies, so they are overly protective. What do we have here? The Cow High Council, is it? Some 30 kilometers to the south of Bikaner is the town of Deshnok. And in the town of Deshnok, there's this temple dedicated to goddess Durga. Now, if I'm not mistaken, these three are quite okay. There's a fourth one that's really troublesome. The levels of hostilities by these doggos. We are topping up the tuk-tuk. I'm not entirely sure on the legitimacy of this operation, however. Is this good vehicle for Deshnok?
Yeah.
Good vehicle, eh? 60 kilometers. Very good. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Alright, so we arrived at Deshnok. The temple, the Karni Mata temple, is straight down the road. Now let me make an introduction about this temple, man. First of all, Karni Mata was once upon a time a real person. She lived in the 1400s, if I remember correctly, and she is considered to be an avatar of goddess Durga. Karni Mata was a sage, and as a sage, she was into celibacy and all that stuff. Karni Mata's sister was offered to have children for the family, and she had 4 sons. The youngest son, Lakshman, drowned in a nearby lake. And the younger sister asked Karni Mata basically to save him. She appealed to the god of death, who granted her the return of her son. Now, there was a little bit of discussion there, because the god of death said, okay, I will bring back the kid, but how does it work with the circle of reincarnation? So Karni Mata asked the god of death to bring back Lakshman, her son, in the form of a rat. And she did the same with all her descendants. This is why in this temple rats are worshipped. I mean, try to imagine it like this. For these people, the rats are basically their family. I mean, they are people who have passed away, relatives of theirs who have passed away and came back in this form. So it's not a traditional story of reincarnation, you know? It's a little bit specialized here. I guess it's here we place our shoes. Oh, look, it's the white one. Wow, we are blessed. Are these sacks of rice, man? They probably are, you know. Is this a good thumbnail? I have a very strong tendency to throw away the socks, man. I mean, what a place. Karni Mata Temple. By the way, as you can see, there are rats going in and out of the temple. And there are even more of them that live outside of the temple in the city. Now rats are territorial, so if the outsiders want to get in here, the other ones from inside, they fight them and they kick them out, so it kind of remains a closed thing for those specific rats over there. More than 20,000 live there, can you believe that? So what do we think about this place, man? I mean, I try to see it like this. When you go to London, you go to St. Paul. When you go to Rome, you go to St. Peter. When you go to Istanbul, you go to the Blue Mosque. When you come here, this is the main temple. This is the core of these people's belief. So it deserves respect. Now to my Western way of viewing things, it's not a very pleasant feeling to have all these rats roaming around. It's also not a pleasant thing to share food with these animals, and the locals do that. I mean, the milk you saw these rats drinking is also drunk by humans, and they consider it blessed. But you know how it is, man. I mean, as long as this brings joy to your soul, go ahead and do it, man. Who are we to judge? Especially us Westerners. Amazing place, absolutely amazing place. It's well worth the experience. So we're here, we're back in Bikaner. This is the fort. It's kind of majestic. Karni Mata was the patron saint, if we can say that, of the local Rajputs. Rathors were the rulers, the Rajputs of Jodhpur and this place, and Bikaner. And they were mortal enemies with the other ones, the Bhati from Jaisalmer. I think these were carried by people. And not only here in Bikaner, also in Jodhpur. The fort of Jodhpur was also blessed by Karni Mata. Check out this Maharaja man. This reminds me of yesterday at the station, where they had the statue of a tourist with a camera on top of a camel. Is that a swimming pool? Are you joking me? Is this a royal swing? It probably is, you know. What on earth is that, man? It does have teeth. Check it out, man. This is the typical worship image of a house. It's basically the Indian equivalent of your grandmother's icon of Jesus.